today is the kind of day where you just don't want to get out of your pajamas. It's a bit grey outside. The sun's trying to peek through with a little bit of difficulty, but you know, I haven't gotten my head on. I'm still in my PJs, and I did warn you in the first episode of Studio Time that I wouldn't be doing my hair for you guys. Well, this is one of those days. But anyway, just wanted to say hi as I try to do at the start of all my videos, and letting you know that I'm going to do a new page. And since it's a pajama kind of day, then I guess it might be quite loose and just, carefree, I guess. Well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let me know if you get any inspiration from it by leaving me a comment or subscribing, or even better, pop by my website. So it's a little bit more private in a way there, and easier for me to respond to your comments and questions. So definitely pop by the website. I'll leave a link down there in the description box, and also at the end of the video. All right, let's get started. Alright guys, you're in for another voiceover because my computer went berserk and started blaring songs from Nirvana while I was trying to fix some things on iTunes, so I just thought, no, forget it, I'll leave it blaring in the background and I'll do a voiceover later. So I'm just going to use my art journal again, and I already have some stamps on there that when I was cleaning them basically from other pages and testing them. So I'm just going to leave that and go over it. And I'm using some colors that I don't normally use in my art journals or in my paintings in general, just on purpose because of that reason, because I don't use them often. So I'm going to use this sort of burgundy color, which is not that nice in my opinion by itself, but with a bit of white, it's got a bit of a pink tone, so that's not so bad. So I'm just going to spread that and then just have fun with it, really. Now I'm going to add a contrasting color, and I love putting some turquoise against the reds and magenta. It just always makes me so happy. So I'm going to blend a deep turquoise with a bit of white and fill in some of those white areas. Now that everything is dry, I'm going to use something else I barely ever use, and that's copper paint. It's really lovely, but I don't know why I just hardly ever use it. But I'm going to add a little bit of shine to my pages. Time to add a few details. I'm going to use one of my hand-carved stamps, which has a fairly thin sort of design. Really like this one, even though it looks a little bit messy. It actually does print quite well. And just going to ink it up and add some detailing. Now I'm going to add a little bit more texture using a stencil and some acrylic paint, and I'm keeping in the current colors with a bit more turquoise and white. Now I want to add some orange and lime green to contrast with my colors in the background, but if I do that, because they're a little bit transparent and I put that on top of those dark colors, the magenta and the deep turquoise, it's going to look really yucky. So I'm adding a bit of white gesso in the areas where I'm thinking of putting some contrasting colors. That way I've got something white and fairly, or a little bit opaque, where I can add my colors and retain the vibrancy. I'm going to add a little bit of texture in the foreground with a bit of aqua green through bubble stencil. My camera stopped recording for the next little step, but I'll tell you what you missed. I just dipped a credit card into magenta paint and did some lines. Now I'm going to select a piece of paper from a scrapbook a paper pad and cut it out and glue it with gel medium. At this point, I'm feeling that the edges don't look that great on this piece of paper. It needs something else, so I'm going to make them look a little bit prettier with a funky pair of scissors that I bought probably like 60 years ago and used twice. So it was a bad time to get them out, but it will help make this little piece of paper look a lot neater. These days, whenever I want to glue something across the binding of my art journal, I actually cut it where I'm going to place it because it avoids bulking up your journal quite a lot. So it may not be, you know, the best result in the end, but it just saves so much wear and tear on your journal that it really is worth doing that. So spreading some gel medium on the page and just gluing my little piece of paper down both sides. And when that's all dry, I'm going to use some gesso, put it on my finger and spread it all the way around the edges of this little bit of paper. Now I've got a good base on which I can add colors that will remain vibrant and true to the original color. And it's also helped blend the edges a little bit with the background, which is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to sort of camouflage the edges of the paper so everything looks a little bit more unified and you know, part of the same one project. Really happy how this has turned out. Really love how the edges are sort of a little bit camouflaged, but you can still see the pretty cut paper. And I'm just using a white chalk pen now to add some very sort of subtle details and little dots all the way around. Now I'm going to use a purple gel pen and add a little note on this piece of paper about this pajama day and how good it feels to be in your pajamas. Why not? You just have to do it sometimes. Just don't make it a habit, that's all. Before I finish, I decided to add a few more lines, just like I did in the background. Now you can see how I do them. Just dip the edge of my credit card, or it's an old card of some sort, into the paint and just rub it in lines. So it adds a lovely texture everywhere now that I've got it in the background and the foreground. I'm going to use a little bit of the gesso mixed with that aqua green I had before and add a little bit of it on the edges of both pages just to create a bit of a border and bring everything together. This is what my pages look like now. I've got lots of lovely colors blending together. Even though they're all a little bit different, they just go perfectly together. A little white detail on top of the orange background of this little note, and purple or shimmery purple ink actually for those doodles and the words. So I'm really happy with it. I'm going to leave it for today. You know that feeling that something's missing when you wake up the next day, look at your pages again? Well, that applied for this morning, so I decided to add something else, but I wasn't sure what. I ended up deciding with a little bit of glitter. Why not? I just love glitter. I don't really use it in my more serious paintings, but in my journal then it's completely fine and recommended. So let's apply it a little bit everywhere. It looks like I'm putting a lot, but it's actually quite subtle. It's a very clear liquid with little bits of glitter in it. It's not all pure glitter, so it's actually, you can apply it quite in quite a subtle way.